Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and today is Casing Tuesday. And that's the day when we take a card out of the catalog and we give it a makeover. So it's kind of, for me, it's a very fun challenge because often I'm super busy the day before. And last night I didn't get to designing my card until like 9 o'clock at night. Actually, I've moved my card. It's still sitting across by my computer desk. So let me just move this over here so I have it. And I was like, oh shoot, I've left this really, really late in the day. Will I ever be able to figure out this card? And, thankfully, that's what I love about Casing Tuesday is that you have a layout to work with. And the layout for my brain works really well. It might not be what works for your brain, but if it does, it might really click to have a sketch to work with, to have a sample card to kind of work from. And just the fact that you can realize that you can plug and play different colors, different paper, different stamp sets into that same layout and create a totally new card. And thankfully, it all came together last night very easily, and I was able to create my card in, I think, about half an hour. So that's a pretty good, very quick design time. So I hope you like this layout too. It's a very straightforward layout, and I'm going to share that with you right now. Let me pull up the card. So it's a very straightforward layout. Now there is that crooked layer in the back, but you can straighten it. You don't have to keep it crooked. I straightened out my layer. I have trouble sometimes with crooked layers. They just need to be straightened for some reason. But you can have it straight. You can have it crooked, however you want. And so these layers are fairly simple. So there you go. I'll share with you what my layers were. I kind of simplified my layers even more. Those two bigger layers on the card front for me are the same size. And then I had to switch out the label piece a little bit to have it fit my card. So you can play around. The sketch is there for you as a starting point and a way for you just to get your bearings and then just go from there and have fun with the card. Good morning, everyone who's joining me. Thank you for joining me. It makes this segment so much more fun to have you here. And I will talk with all of you right at the end. Since some of you are on here already, I wanted to let you know Stampin' Up! Is still catching up with its picking process. So if you ordered something this month, the Stampin' Up! Is behind. We had our biggest ordering day ever on April 4th, and you're probably thinking, but Brenda, it's April 25th. What's going on? So that day put Stampin' Up! Behind for the whole month. It was they had almost as many orders on April 4th as they did for the entire month of March. So it was like a huge ordering day. So it took them, I don't know, like a week and a half just to get through that day of picking. So I looked this morning, and I think I'm just going to check in the background here real quick. So I went to go see where my customer orders were at this morning, and it looks like, okay, we've got April, I've got orders that have shipped out from April 14th, and none of my orders from April 15th have shipped out yet. So we're somewhere on that cusp, April 14th, between April 14th and April 15th. So if you have an order in that time slot, those will be picking soon. And I think they are gaining momentum as the month progresses, as the later the orders, because each day subsequently had less and less orders. So they still had record orders this month, but they are getting to that process. And apologize that it's taking so long if you're waiting for stuff, but just know Stampin' Up! Is working as best it can. They did not anticipate having that many orders that day. So it was caught them off guard. And so it's hard to just like ramp up really quickly, but they actually pull people from different parts of Stampin' Up! When they have a lot of orders to pick. So they prioritize picking and getting things out. And one of the things I am happy about is that that Stampin' Up! Is a healthy company, and it is run well. It is run debt free. So it's a good solid company. So I love that about it. And sometimes we do have this, but I'm sure most successful companies have that. So I'm sorry for the delay if you're waiting for your order. And if you have ordered with me, and you still are wondering where your order is in the process, just shoot me an email and I'll be happy to look up where your order is in the process and help give you a better idea of when it might pick and ship. All right, that's a lot of blah, blah, blah. Let's get on and let's make this card. All right, here is my card that I made today. This card looks like summer. And I had to laugh this morning because last week I said, oh, I made a bird card 2 weeks in a row. Well, guess what? I have another bird card. This time it's a goose, but I was like, what? Another bird card. But I just happened to grab this stamp set and I love this card. This is such a cute little goose, and so I'm going to show you how I made this. It's not a hard card, but I've added a few little details that you might not know how I did that. So let's get started, and let's talk about the card base. It's Tahitian Tide, and it's kind of your standard card base, 11 inches by 4 1/4 and scored in half at the 5 1/2 inch mark. So it's just half a sheet of cardstock, but it's cut a different way. A card doesn't open like this. It opens top to bottom. So it's kind of like got the fold at the top, so we can call that a tent fold. So that's the first layer. Then we've got this layer right here, and this is the Basics 3D embossing folder, and I was gonna check this morning. I'm gonna do this in the background real quick. This was back ordered, but it will be coming back. Let me just take a quick look and see if it's still back ordered. Yeah, it's currently unavailable. Let's go. I'm just doing this in the background. Sorry guys, I should have done this ahead of time. Let me just see when this is due back in. Let's take a quick look. Oh, it's supposed to be back in on May 1st. So since that is the case, sometimes they've been coming back in a little bit earlier. So it could even be back this week. I'm not 100% sure, but the order date to come back is May 1st. This is an online exclusive. It comes with 3 embossing folders. And so this one, I love this one. It's got kind of big polka dots. So I'll just show you how to emboss that real quick. You'll need the regular size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And you're just going to need your base platform. Oops, not the number 2. That's the adapter. You're going to need your base platform number 1, and you're going to need this plate number 4. They both come with your machine if you order it. So no worries. You'll have everything you need right from when you get your machine. So you just slide your cardstock in. This piece is Flirty Flamingo. It measures 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And when I do this piece, what I try and do is I try and center it so that like the dots look kind of centered on there. I'm just kind of shifting it so it's there's the same amount of space above and below the dots. I don't know why that matters to me. It shouldn't, but it does. But you don't have to do that. You can just shove it in there and not worry about it being equal all the way around. Sometimes things, when you don't pay as much attention, it looks better than if you try to make it too perfect. Anyway, so those are the little dots. I love it. It's a 3D embossing folder, so it is. It's got quite a bit of depth to it, so it's nice. It's really tactile on a card. Okay, so we've got our base layer, we've got our Flirty Flamingo layer, and now let's do our main layer. This is the focal point layer. So this is also, I simplified the layers. This one's also 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. We're going to take our Soleil Goose stamp set, and I have to say something about this. I got this stamp set in red rubber, which we call cling, and it is going to, the same stamp set will be in the main catalog that starts in May, but it won't be available in red rubber. It's only going to be available in photopolymer. So I put both stamp set links in my supply list today, but going forward, this will only be available in photopolymer. Now, I'm just going to keep using mine as red rubber, and every time I use it, I'll probably just tell people that I'm using red rubber, and if you order it now, you'll get photopolymer. So I'm just going to ink this guy up. This is Memento ink, and I just want to stamp this down here somewhat close to the right bottom. Just stamp that there. Okay, and we'll close this up. And what we want to do is we want to add some extra waves. And I'm going to use a Sharpie to do that. Because I don't know, for some reason I wanted to create the look of having a few extra waves in here. So I'll just do kind of I'm trying to be a little random. Okay, so I just added like a few extra waves just to kind of give it more like the look like it's filling up the entire bottom. You don't have to do that, but that's the way I wanted to do it. So now I'm going to take some Stampin' Blends. Look at my pumpkin pie blend. I accidentally cracked the lid. It fell down and I stepped on my lid. So I happened to have a green marker that was dry that I had thrown away. So I grabbed the lid from that marker and stuck it on there because I was like, okay, that lid is no longer going to be airtight. So that's why I have a green lid on the one side, but no worries, it still works. So we're going to start off with our Flirty Flamingo. This is dark, and I'm just going to maneuver. I'm going to do this this floaty tube in Flirty Flamingo, and this is going to help tie in that layer, that Flirty Flamingo layer, and see those polka dots on the tube. They're gonna bring back the polka dots on the embossed layer. So it's kind of like tying together nicely. Nice thing about geese is a lot of the times, if it's just like a farm goose, a lot of times they are white. You don't need to color them. So a lot of the coloring we don't have to do. So, okay, I'm going to grab my pumpkin pie and we'll just do the beak of the goose. You know what? I just realized I didn't do the goose beak all the way on this one. I'm going to fix that now. There we go. I'm fixing my old card. All right, and I also want to do these flowers in Flirty Flamingos. So I'm just going to do the little petals. Flirty Flamingo. You can't do much shading when a flower is that small. Then I'm going to come in with my yellow, my Daffodil Delight. This is the dark, and I'm just going to add a little daffodil on there. And then I'll come in with Parakeet Party. This is the dark one. And I'll just do the frog. Parakeet Party is like a very iridescent green. It's really nice and bright. good for this card. And then we'll just do these little leaves here. Little stem. We'll do the stem here like that. We can hit the inner parts of the flower with some green too. Okay. Then we're going to do our Tahitian tied waves. So we'll just kind of go over top of the waves with this Tahitian tied. And this was the dark Tahitian tide. Oh, I want to mention before I go any further, see my cute little labels on the ends of my Stampin' Blends? We are getting new colors in the new catalog, and I've already done this, but I've already created a sheet with all of the new colors. These are my little labels, and I'm going to label my new colors with these. You will need a 3/8 inch circle punch to punch these out. I have a link for you below if you don't have one. It's not a Stampin' Up! Product. I don't think we've ever sold a 3/8 inch circle punch, but you'll need that to punch out these little guys to create those little circles. And then I just adhere them with mini glue dots, or you can buy a full-size Avery sticker sheet and print them out, and then you can use just the adhesive from the sticker sheet to adhere it. But I like to actually print this out on basic white cardstock, the regular thickness, and then just punch them out and use mini glue dots, and they hold really well, and it makes your life so much easier when you're trying to identify your marker, especially when you're grabbing it from your holder. So look for that coming up next week on my blog. It will be in the, just going to double check what I call that section. I think it's called resources. Scrolling up. Yes, it's under the resources section. So we'll have this. And then also coming up, we're going to have, I've created a Stampin' Blends chart with all the new colors that will be available, only the current colors that will be available starting in May. So this will be a blank chart that you can also have and print out, and what I suggest you do is fill in the colors that you have. So you will just scribble your colors, the ones that you have. Maybe you don't have all of them, and that way you can see what gaps you might have, or what colors, what a color actually looks like when it's scribbled down. So I have a spot to do the light and the dark, and I kind of have it done in color order so that you can kind of see as you work down the different colors. So this is what made logical sense to me. I will have that blank chart in the resources section as well. Okay, I wanted to mention that. I might do a little video on that as well, just to show you how I did everything. Okay, so now I want to create a bit of a look of water down here. And to do that, I'm going to use my Tahitian tide and my little sponge dauber. Daub off a bit and just add a little blue down here, just to create like the sense of water. I don't know why I wanted it to go all the way to the edges. It really doesn't have to, but I just thought that kind of looked good to have the blue all the way to the edges like that. Okay, so that is how I finished that layer. So we're creating our layers, got this layer, and now we've got that big blank spot right up at the top, but that's no problem because that was already part of the whole process with the original card sketch. So I'm going to take this is the Happy Labels Pick a Punch. It will be in the new catalog as well. It's available right now though, because it's in the mini catalog. I'm going to be using this edge. This piece measures 2 3/4 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to punch that down. See, it gives you that kind of a ticket edge. It's a little bit different. scoot that in. And I'm just going back to the original design of the card. The original card had this label. I believe it had this label as the greeting layer. And then we're going to come in with Parakeet Party. So we're stamping Parakeet Party ink on Parakeet Party cardstock. And we'll just turn this around. And we'll stamp it right on to the label. Like that. All right. I think we've got all the layers for our cards, so let's go ahead and adhere them. We'll start off with this layer here, Flirty Flamingo, with the Basics 3D embossing folders. And I'm just going to make this easy for myself. I'm going to adhere this about 1/2 inch from the left side. I always have to think, which one's my left hand? And about 1/2 inch from the top. Okay, so just keep it really easy. Keep these two sides the same. And just make sure it's straight. And we'll take this layer. And remember, these two layers are the same size. In the original card, they were different sizes, but I simplified. 3 inches by 4 1/4. Both of these layers are exactly the same. And because my layers are straight, it makes it a little easier for me to put them on. If you were doing the crooked layer, you could just follow along with what the original card was in the catalog. And then we're going to take this layer, add some glue there. You know what, this little side is sticking up a bit, so I'm going to come in and put some glue right on top of these dots. Yeah, so that's going to help this corner stick down because it's got that 3D going on. It's wanting to pop up, so I just did that. Now it should stick down. Now I'll grab my layer and I'm going to just give it, you know, a little bit of white space up at the top and then just kind of go in between so it doesn't stick out all the way on the Flirty Flamingo piece. And now that top part of the card has something in it so it doesn't look as blank. And then to finish it off, there's this ribbon or twine. This is the 2022-2024 in color Baker's twine. This is also carrying over, so it's a lovely twine, so you can still get that going forward into next year. And I just tied a little bow earlier, and we'll just add that to the card right below there, and that's going to further take away a little bit of the white space, break up a little bit of the card, and just give it a little bit of fun. So, you know, it doesn't matter if there is a little bit of white space. I mean, it helps if some of it is broken up, and this kind of ties in the card a little bit. One thing I love about twine is that it's not bulky. So if you're making this card and you're mailing it rather than handing it out, it's going to be easy for you to slip that into an envelope and send it. So there are my cute little cards, and I feel like with a stamp set like this, it's so easy to create fun cards, right? Oh, this little guy right here. You know what I was going to do? I was going to create an inside for this card. Let me do that. Okay, I've walked across the other room and grabbed the other side of the room to grab a piece of basic white. And what we're going to do is we'll cut this down to 5 inches and by 3 3/4. So it's just going to be a mat. I'm going to create 2 of them, but I'm only going to do one on camera. But I thought it'd be fun to do the birthday balloon on the inside of the card. And I forgot I was going to do that. So let's do that real quick. We'll take this. And we need the stamp. Pull it out. Now, if you get this now and you get the photopolymer, it's going to be a lot easier to see where your goose is stamping. But if you have the red rubber, what I like to do, because I don't like to put the stickers on my stamps, they do come with sticky stickers, but I don't like to use them because it's extra work, and I'm just used to doing this like this without the stickers, because for many years the stickers didn't work very well. Now they do, but now I've already gotten used to not using the stickers. So I like to, if I have a red rubber, I like to arrange my image if it needs to be a certain way. I like to arrange it so I know that this part, the bottom of my block, needs to be straight. So that way I don't have to guess whether I have to tilt it or anything. So I'm going to assume this is how I want the goose to walk, and so this is going to be straight. So I'm going to grab this little guy, ink him up. And so now I have to remember this guy is straight at the bottom. And I'm just going to add him right there. He's so cute. And so this is going to just bring it all together, you know, the fact that it's a goose. So now we'll just bring in our blends one more time, and this time we have feet to color, so let's do that. And again, the body of the goose does not need to be colored, so you're just like adding like really tiny touches. Okay, and then let's see, we've got a hat to color and we've got a balloon to color. So theoretically, these are the colors from the inside. So I think I'm going to do, I'd like to add the blue for sure, because we have a blue card base, so I do want to do blue. So let's do a blue balloon. I'm gonna grab my Tahitian Tide light and do the balloon in Tahitian Tide. Okay. Okay. And then I'm gonna do a pink hat. I'm gonna do all one color because it's just very light. So that's it. And now I can add that to the inside, and it's going to, like, because it says a silly goose told me it's your birthday, this definitely is a silly goose. So that will lead nicely to the inside when I adhere this to the inside. And that blue balloon looks really great with this blue card base, and it just kind of all makes sense. So you could find a greeting for the inside that says just happy birthday, and you could add that as well, because you know, you don't really have a happy birthday on the front, you just have a silly goose told me it's your birthday. So that's how I would tie in the two, and it gives you, you know, a really cute little way to finish off the card. And I just feel like with a stamp set like this, it's just so much fun to create cards because there's such a fun factor. And I love to smile because sometimes life can be pretty serious. And so this, a stamp set like this to make fun birthday cards, I think that's just a good thing. So I hope you like that. I'm coming back over to all of you. So I do have a host code this month. It will be ending at the end of April. So at a Sunday, I guess, will be the last day you can use this. And here it is. And if you order with me using this host code during the month of April and you spend at least $50, you will get my host code gift of the month. and that will be the In Color Pearls. That they are a new product that will be in the new catalog in May. So I will order those on May 2nd when the catalog goes live, and then I will be sending them out by mid-May. So if you still want to earn those, use this house code while placing your order and spend at least $50. So we have the new catalog that starts just next week, a week from today. I'm just looking at my calendar. Yeah, a week. It starts on May 2nd. So some of you probably already have your catalogs. They've customers that of mine that ask me to send them a catalog. Those catalogs have been arriving. And if your catalog has not arrived yet, don't worry. But if it doesn't arrive by May, let me know and I will help get you your catalog. All right, I'm going to say hi to everyone who's here with me this morning. Good morning, Marty and Janine and Ellie and Deborah. Marty says it's fun to be here. Well, thank you. That's so great. Marty said she got a notification that her April 14th order is on its way. Well, that's good news. It has taken a long time for orders to pick, but that happens sometimes. And I think just knowing the fact that Stampin' Up! Had a lot of orders and they haven't forgotten about you is a huge thing. So if anyone is worried about their order or wants to know where their order is, please reach out to me. Marty says she prefers to have the layer straight too. So this layer, the one that's that background layer, you can do it crooked, but I think for me personally, it's just easier to straighten it out. And so you can take a lot of liberties when you're doing Casing Tuesday. And I just want to remind you, you can post your card over on our Casing Tuesday Facebook group. If you look down below in the description of this video, there's a lot of information for you there. You can find a link to my blog post, a link to the supply list, a link to the Casing Tuesday Facebook group, a link to join my email list so you can get a free project sheet every Saturday. All of that information is down in the description of my video. You might need to click on the link that says see more, and it will expand with a ton of information for you, including links to my current Stampin' Blends chart, a link to a 3/8 inch circle punch on Amazon. So you get one that I'll just show you which one I have. They're so tiny, but it's very helpful for the Stampin' Blends. It's about as big as you can get. So it's this tiny little punch right there, 3/8 inch circle punch. And that's what you need to get if you want to do your Stampin' Blends like mine. And I tried to use a font, like a really small, clear font that I could use for all of them. And I tried to use, I think I did manage to use all the same font size because I'm a little bit particular about that, especially like when they're all lined up like that. I like to use like the same font size and the same font for all of them. So can't remember what font I used, but I searched. I went online and I searched for a font. It ended up being a Microsoft Word font, but I searched for like, what is the clearest small font? And I found one that would work for all of them. I'm such a detail nut that I needed to do that. So I hope you like my charts once you label your blends. All right. Well, I will be back on Friday with a new video for you, and that will be on YouTube at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you will join me then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.